Hello Yellow class, I hope you had a great Tuesday and today I'm going to go through Wednesday's learning so that you know what you've got to do. So let's start off with our phonics today, and we are carrying on thinking about the long A sound, and today we are looking at the long A sound made with the AY, which comes at the end of a word. That's where you tend to find this spelling, and today in your pack you have got a set of cards that you can use to play a pairs game. So if you cut them all out, turn them over, match them up, read the words, and you're just revising where that A sound is in those words. So our guided reading today, we are still thinking about the text, Don't Put Your Pants on Your Head, Fred. Today I want you to think about the Queen. Now in this story, the Queen comes to watch a parade of the soldiers, and I want you to think about your opinion of the Queen. Now in the story, when she sees the soldiers and they're all dressed in a really silly way, most people would think that the Queen might be quite cross or quite frustrated. But actually, when you look at the story, the Queen laughs at the soldiers and thinks they're quite silly for how they've got dressed. And then she helps them. Then she's quite kind to the soldiers, and she goes back and she makes sure that they know how to get dressed properly. So have a think about that story and what your opinion of the Queen is. So we're going to count back in tens today, so starting from 100. So I've got 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. Then I've got a few things here. It says name a shape with, and you've got to tell me, call out a shape that fills in some of these things. So name a shape with 4 straight edges. Have a think. What shapes could we have said there? We could have said a square, an oblong, or we might have used the word rectangle. So those are shapes that have got 4 straight sides. One curved edge. A circle, yes, a circle is the only shape that's got one, or an oval has as well, hasn't it? But a circle or an oval. 5 vertices. So vertices are where the edges meet. Sometimes they're called points, but the technical term is vertices. So can you tell me a shape with 5 of those? Think about a shape which has 5 edges. A pentagon, well done. 8 straight edges. Which shape has got the 8, and that clue is in the beginning part of the word? An octagon. And 6 vertices, so 6 points where edges meet. A hexagon, and these are the ones that tend to get a little bit confused. Pentagon and hexagon. Pentagon is 5, hexagon is 6. Today in your maths, you're carrying on with your division. And division, as we've talked about over the last couple of days, is when we're sharing. So we are sharing things out, and we have to remember that word equal. So we're sharing an amount out equally into a number of groups, and division is shown by this symbol here. Today you've got some word problems, so you need to read the word problems, understand them, and then work out what calculation you've got to do. If you find that really easy and you finish really quickly, maybe you could have a go at writing some of your own word problems. Right, yesterday you did a plan for the lighthouse keeper, and you were thinking about a story. We had some quite interesting stories in school. A few people had Hamish that had gone missing. Somebody's going to write a story about the lighthouse keeper going to a fun fair, and lots of the different attractions are broken. Somebody's going to write one where the line snaps and his lunch falls into the water. Just today, write the first part of your story. Remember those things that make a story interesting, the adjectives, the story language. Layer it up so that your story is interesting and is interesting to the reader. Handwriting today. So let's have a look. So we're writing some words with the A, the AY at the end. First word, play. So P, now sometimes this is a tricky letter, goes all the way down. Al goes all the way up. Then we've got A and then our Y is a low down letter. Then we've got the word stay, so it starts like a curly curl, wiggle, come up for our T, into our A, and then into our low down Y. Then we've got the word clay, we've got a curly curl, a tall L, and then we've got our AY at the end, and our last word that's on the other side is the word day. So starts off like a curly curl all the way up, and then we've got our AY on the end. Now today we've got our computing session. Sorry children, I went too far. And now it won't go back. We've got our computing today. In our computing last week, you were drawing yourselves a story map of something that you could film. Now I'm going to put a couple of links on the website that you can have a look at. If we were doing this in school, we would be using a program called Animate It, and Animate It is a program where you can do something called stop frame animation. And in a stop frame animation, you take a picture, and every time you take a picture, a character or an image will slowly move. So that's what we would be using in school. I'm going to put a couple of links to some videos that you might want to watch which were made using stop frame animation. So things like Wallace and Gromit. You might remember there was a cartoon called Meow Meow. That's made by stop frame, and it's plasticine that moves. And your parents might remember something called Morph. There was a character called Morph on telly, and he was a stop frame animation character. So what happens is you very slowly move the character or the item each time, and then when you play the photos really quickly, that's when you get your animation. I understand that not everybody might be able to get this on their computers or their phones. If not, try to use some puppets or some characters and work out and make a short little film. So today's IT and computing is thinking all about how you can make a video and you can make something for people to watch. So you did make a story map last week, so use that story map to make your film this week. And then for our challenge, you've got Joe Wicks to get physical, our new Forest School Sports Partnership. You do need a ball for this one today, and I have to read this because I keep forgetting which order to do it in. So, you need to bounce it and catch it, then you throw the ball and you catch it. Okay, so you've got a little rhythm, so you're going to bounce, catch, throw, catch, bounce, catch, throw, catch. And what you have to do is you have to count how many times you can do that before you lose control of the ball. So maybe you drop it or it rolls off somewhere else. So find out how many times you can do that. I've got quite a small ball, you might want a larger ball to try that with. It's completely up to you. And then the score that you need to send me is the score that you get for the amount of times that you can do that whole routine. So this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that whole sequence is one routine. So have a go, see how many times you can do that and send that in. We've got so many of you engaged this week in our new Forest School Sports Challenge. It's been really good. So make sure you have a go at doing that. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, yellow class.